something, you have to go after it, and you have to challenge yourself, and don't wait till you fulfill every single possible criterion for a job before you bid on it. Go for things, really put yourself out there, and that's the way you're gonna get what you want, and also the way you're gonna move up. So then I was BCM in Costa Rica and became charge, and then I came back to the department, was head of policy planning, got the office director. I was then moved up to DAS in Western Hemisphere, and then went out as ambassador to Ecuador. So that's kind of the career path but at every point I had to kind of advocate and fight for those jobs, because again, nobody, even when people know you, and that's the key, obviously you all know, to getting things is to get people to know you, hence 2 bureaus is really important, at least because people have to recognize your name when you show up in a bid list. Somebody needs to be able to say, oh yeah, I know them, they were in, X. Or anybody says, oh, no, then you're dead. It's never going to get that. So it's, networking and that kind of stuff, it's painful, but it's just the reality. And it's not actually all that different from careers in the corporate sector or anything else. It's just the way things go. Just general career advice that I wanted to say, that I always say to groups like this, because people often, and I'm happy to talk about different trade-offs and do this, do that, but the main thing is, don't take jobs you don't want just because you think it's going to get you ahead. It's your life. You're living your life. If you're committing like 2 years or 3 years to something, if you don't like it, it's not worth it. Because there's so many paths upward and to make yourself feel fulfilled in your career. There's so many different definitions of career success, I guess. Is that I've seen people think, oh God, I've just got to take this job. They hate it, and they're miserable for a couple of years. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And there you are, having kind of wasted a whole tour. And at some points too, if you've just come off a really hard tour and maybe you've just gotten promoted, great. Take something that's really fun that you just want to go do. Again, make your career about your life and your personal enjoyment and success.
A senior PD officer who I respect said, if I was the PAO looking to hire you for your next overseas assignment, I would rather see you in a press job at a functional bureau than in a job in ECA or IIP.
I see this hand and I see you, and I know that too.
As a PAO or as an office director, I was looking for a certain skill set. And back in the good old days, the halcyon days when I came in and you were over compliment, at your first tour, and so you got basically a year to just float around the embassy and figure out the embassy. Then you went into your 2-year junior officer tour. It was good. Life was good back then. Those days are gone. Now you're going to do 2 tours, punching visas. The worst case scenario is 2 years punching visas, and then your 3rd tour, you need a chance to get a job, maybe in Cone, most likely not, given the number of jobs that are out there. I think you have to look for a job that's going to show the skill set to be a diplomat in that first job that you're bidding on. And if it's in Cone, I think it's great, but if it's not, then it should be something that shows that skill set, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for value added to my position, either in DC or at an embassy, and I need somebody who's kind of got that broad skill set. We have some really good substantial courses. They're going to teach you about contracting, they're going to teach you about grants, they're going to teach you about all that other stuff you need. But what I need is somebody who shows up to work on time, who is congenial, who knows how to develop, who's a killer contact developer, because that's all you're going to be doing at that mid-level career. It's the freest you're ever going to be in the Foreign Service. Your job is going to be go out, make contacts, reel them in.
On a desk right now. I appreciate hearing that, and I think though there's sometimes we distinguish between what helps you get a good assignment and what helps you get promoted, and I think that gets to kind of what you're talking about, Leah, that these sometimes aren't the same thing.
Right.
Has anybody here ever served on a promotion panel? So I'd be curious, and I know the panels are changing now, but what's your view on how the panels view some of these questions like ECA, IIP experience, or even DC PD experience for large vice, overseas, and then also having been in and going to a non-PD job, after doing a couple PD jobs in the field, I'm definitely doing the, in your EER, here are all the PD things I did, and really, really, trying to highlight that. But how much does that matter?
When it comes to like the panels, I know one of the comments that we had on my panel was about you had an officer and they were, whatever cone they were, there was a desire to see that people did the job they were given. Not the job they wanted to do, but the job they were given. And so if we use a PD officer, if we saw a PD officer who was in a Paul job, but seems to spend all their time doing PD-like activities in their ER, we would say, this officer is not showing us breadth of experience, the ability to be able to do stuff. They're only showing us, one side. And do we want one-trick ponies at the next level? No, we want to see well-rounded officers who are PD officers and have the ability to do other things. So I think, it's a balance of, who is your audience, what are you trying to say, and how you do it.
One of the best things anybody ever said to me about this career, thank you, Ambassador John Maystill, was, Conzo, this thing's about addition, not subtraction. And it's about adding to your network, adding to your mentors. It's about growing something that you can then go back and use later on in your career.
But I feel like you may be unique in the fact that you know exactly what you're looking for because you have that experience and you're a fantastic PD officer. But I also feel like for instance, my current supervisor in BSC is a traditional econ officer. I think theoretically he knows what he would like out of a PD officer, but I don't know that he actually understands exactly what I do in the office, especially in a PD position. And he's open, so I'm kind of like trying to train him since he's new right now. And he's great, he's really receptive. This is nothing against my boss. But it's just saying that the boss that I had prior to him was a long-time PD guy, so he intimately and intuitively understood my job and the value that I added in the office. So my concern now is when I'm looking to bid to these positions, more and more I'm seeing also other officers from other cones taking PD assignments and as an excursion or something for them, and I'm not sure how to market myself to them. And I take Michelle's point about the spin because for my last few tours I've been out of cone. Not intentionally, it's not for lack of trying to do a PD job, but like evacuations and Arab Spring and that kind of stuff. Had a way of throwing a wrench into that. But I took advantage of saying, these are the things that I did it was PD.
I was a diplomat in residence for my last position. That was all about getting out there and doing outreach. Okay, granted, it's an American audience, but that's PD work. Right now I'm in an HR position in the DG's front office, but also doing outreach. That's PD work, whether it's talking to an internal or external audience. So maybe, yes, right now, maybe we can't do anything about taking jobs from entry level or creating new PD positions, but you could look to other positions within the department where you can create PD type work within that particular position. And when you write about it in your evaluations, spin it that way.
If you get somebody to give you a job because they don't realize that our skills are cross-cutting.
Well, you have to advocate for yourself.
No matter what we do, if we don't tell it in a way that folks will understand, we're dead in the water. And so I just want to put out there, we have everything. Crisis management, we do that. Communication, we do that. Interpersonal skills, we do that. Cross-cultural communication, we do that. So we have to own that, and we have to put it in language that people understand. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And we do, whether some people like it or not, have to link that to policy, because that's what we're doing. And we have to, depending on your view, we have to fight against it when people are trying to separate it, because it's not separate. And I don't think that it ever was.
Looking at the country team table, that's the microcosm of the old boys club, where the polycon people tend to have the ambassadors here. And the PD person is just left as on the fringes as an event planner, a baggage holder, whatever you call it, but you're never sort of integral in the policy making, or you're not integral in sort of making decisions for the embassy that are considered executive decisions. So you're kind of always on the fringes. And, you know, how do you work against that process, or how do you try to inculcate yourself to become the ambassador's buddy?
Who is your audience and what is your message? So think about it just exactly in those terms. What value am I going to bring to this ambassador? I have this whole, most ambassadors, I mean, the ambassadorial job is 80% image. If they're not doing that, they need to be doing it, and you're the one to help them do it. And if they are doing it, you're really going to be able to help them. It's a little easier with a political appointee sometimes, frankly, but nevertheless, you know, what value do you bring? Here's an issue about how, you know, we're being perceived, and here's what I can do to help you fix it. Here's the problem. I have the solution.